Nigeria has billionaires, real ones, folks listed, globally recognized. Guys like Aliko Dangote, who's worth around $23 billion, Michael Denuga, worth around $6 billion, Abdulsamad Rabiu, whose net worth is estimated around $8 billion. Some men who built industrial empires, cement, telecoms, refineries, assets that don't just generate money, they generate systems. Now here's the question nobody seems to be asking. Where is the Southeast in all this? Not one of Nigeria's Forbes listed billionaires comes from the Southeast. Not one. And this is not a small thing to overlook. The Southeast, which is the home of the Igbo people, who are arguably the most commercially active ethnic group in Nigeria. Traders, entrepreneurs, hustlers, spread across every city in the country, every market, every street corner, and yet no dollar billionaire. Why? To answer this question, you first have to understand who the Igbo people are economically. Because this story does not start with this ceiling. It starts with something remarkable. The Igbo people are extraordinary in commerce. Go to any major city in Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, and you'll find Igbo traders, running shops, moving goods, building networks. And this is not an accident. It's culture, encoded across generations. And there's a system at the heart of the Igbo economic life called the apprenticeship system. A young man is sent to live and work under a successful Igbo business lab. For years he learns everything: how to buy, how to sell, how to manage. And when his time is done, his master gives him starting capital. And later on, that man then takes his own apprentice, and the cycle continues, generation after generation.
Locally generated venture capital, right? And I can say with almost certainty that the Igbo apprenticeship system that governs the Labe international market is the largest business incubator platform in the world.
The result, Aba is a manufacturing hub built almost entirely by this system. Onitsha has one of the largest markets in all of Africa, and places like Nnewi is often regarded as the auto spare parts capital of Nigeria. These are the people who know how to generate wealth. So the question is not whether the Igbo can build wealth. The question is rather, why has the wealth never crossed into the billion-dollar territory? And here's the diagnosis, and it begins with something that is actually a strength, but now turning into a ceiling. The culture of the apprenticeship system built is almost entirely rooted in one thing: trade. Buying and selling, import and export, moving goods from one place to another and earning the margin. This model works. It absolutely works. It feeds families, it builds communities. But here's what it cannot do. It cannot build billionaires. When your wealth depends on buying and selling, your income is tied to volume and margins. To earn more, you move more goods. There's always a physical limit to how much you can move. But when you manufacture, when you produce at scale, the economics change completely. You're no longer selling someone's health product. You're creating the product. You control the supply chain. You own the infrastructure. Think about how Dangote built his fortune. He did not trade cement. He produced cement. He built the factory. He owned the equipment. He controlled the raw materials. And because Nigeria needed cement more than almost anything, he became untouchable. That's the difference between trade and industry. Trade gives you a business, industry gives you an empire. Now look at where Nigeria's billionaires' wealth come from. What do all these have in common? Critical infrastructure, scalable industry, things the entire country cannot function without. These men did not just find a market, they found the national need and built a system to meet it. Now compare that to the Southeast. Even the wealthiest Igbo men, the ones who come closest to the billionaire level, build their wealth through oil trading, politics-connected business, or diversified commerce. The Southeast itself, with all its entrepreneurial energy, has not yet produced one major industrial anchor. Not one Southeast manufacturer that rivals Dangote Cement, not one regional telecom. The region produces traders at a world-class level, but it has not yet produced industrial elite at that same scale. Now here's the part that makes this even more complicated. Because money is not the problem. The Igbo diaspora is enormous. Igbo are everywhere. In Lagos, London, Houston, Toronto, Johannesburg. They are doctors, engineers, bankers, tech founders, and they send money home. Every year, remittances flow back into the Philippines. But watch where the money goes. Into private loans that do not generate the returns, into ceremonies that consume capital, into land that is bought and never developed. Meanwhile, the world that produces billionaires does the opposite. It pulls together, it concentrates into institution, it compounds. The Igbos, both at home and diaspora, has serious financial firepower. The biggest middle class in the country. But without a structure to concentrate it, it remains scattered energy, and scattered energy does not scale. And now there's one more layer to this, and it will be dishonest to skip it. The Civil War happened. On 1967 to 1970, Eastern region was devastated, infrastructure destroyed, institutions dismantled, businesses wiped out. After the war ended, every Igbo person in Nigeria, regardless of what they owned before, were given £20. That was the reset. £20. An entire region starting over almost from nothing. And what did the Igbos do? They rebuilt. Through trade, through hustle, through the apprenticeship system. They rebuilt using the only tools that needed no government, no infrastructure, no institutions. Because commerce only needs two things: a willing buyer and a willing seller. But industry is different. Industry requires infrastructure, capital concentration, institutions that can sustain long-term investment. And those things are never rebuilt. So the survival strategy that saved the Southeast became over time the structural ceiling that limited it. So now, step back, look at the full picture. The Southeast has no dollar billionaire, not because its people lack intelligence, not because they lack ambition, not because they lack the will to work. The Southeast has no dollar billionaire because of a structural gap, a gap between what the culture gives to survive and what it takes to produce billionaires. Commerce builds resilience, industry creates empires. Apprenticeship systems build thousands of businesses, but billionaires come from scaling one thing into a national system. The diaspora has capital, but scattered capital doesn't create institutions that produce generational wealth at scale. This is the diagnosis, not a failure of character, a failure of structure. And structure, unlike character, can deliberately be changed. The question is no longer whether the Southeast can produce a dollar billionaire. The ingredients are clearly there. The question is whether the region will make that shift from commerce to industry, from scattered capital to concentrated investments, from surviving to building systems. Because what Dangote really built was not a cement company. He built a system. And that is exactly what this series is about. What would it look like for the Southeast to build its own? That conversation continues in the next video. If this made you to think, share it, comment, and stay in this series, because the Southeast does not need to be invented. It needs to scale.